Thanks for joining me for Grand Tactician: The Civil War, our Confederate States of America campaign, Episode 2. We left off the end of the first episode with the war pretty much just starting up. In this second episode, to get it ready for the second episode rather, I have done some of the behind the scenes work that will be a bit tedious for people to watch. So I have assigned political officers to most of the forts. People like this guy. So pretty much every fort has a new political officer in charge. I've tried to give it out some of the appointments from states where we could do with more support, the likes of Kentucky, maybe Arkansas, places like that, Missouri, to try and bolster support basically, and Tennessee as well, by putting in people to look after these forts for us, pretty much. I mean, the only real fort I'm really concerned about at the moment is Fort Norfolk. Fort Norfolk is under Lawrence Branch. I've queued up a few units here and there. Nothing much, so there's a little bit of recruitment going on. We have formed recruiting units, basically, so things like this, the Central HQ under Holmes. These guys are going to be behind the lines, and this is what I'm going to use to recruit men into units for this central region. It means that the readiness of the main armies on the front lines, like the Army of Tennessee here, for example, won't drop while they're recruiting. Of course, everyone's on low readiness anyway because the war's just started, but that'll change as time goes by. The same out here in the west. Trans-Mississippi area. So we've got the Western Army here, which is kind of just getting into the game, but we haven't done anything with that yet. And I've created the Western District under here, under Gideon Pillow. And this is another recruiting unit. We're just going to recruit guys into this and maybe build like depots and things like that. But we'll take that as it comes. In the east, I have created the Eastern HQ, which formed up here for some reason. I don't like it there, so we're pulling it back to Richmond, and again, this is for recruiting troops into and moving them out and about. I've queued up a few thousand men, not too many because we're still on the 12-month contracts, and I would prefer it if they were on 2-year contracts before we start doing mass recruiting. Now that might change if, for example, these guys come down and decide to smash our army. We shall see how this develops. But for now, just a quick note that this video will be chaptered, so obviously if you want to skip ahead to a battle, or I don't know if there's going to be a battle in this episode, but if there is, I'll chapter it in, so if you want to just see the battle, you can skip to that, or whichever bit you want. So I said in the previous episode, I was going to do it kind of like, almost like a half tutorial sort of thing, and I'm still going to carry on doing that. It's not really a tutorial at all, it's just I'll talk through some of the things I'm doing, so if you're new to the game, it might help you out a little. Not that I know everything about the game, not even close, not even nowhere near, but I've played like a few hundred hours of it. So I do know a few things about it, and we'll look at some of the new features as well as we're going through this. In addition to the recruiting of the troops, I've also kind of shifted about some of the commanders. So Porterfield, for example, he's now in charge of the South Carolina Corps, which was the South Carolina Militia or something like that, I think it was called initially, but I've changed that to South Carolina Corps, and they're just down here. I've got Bragg spare, so I'm going to set him up with another army somewhere else, like behind the lines kind of army. We also need to set up kind of what one of the guys I follow, Brambra, he uses these guys. He calls it an engineering corps. I usually call it like a reserve corps or something like that. But it's essentially the same thing. It's a unit that's going to be behind the line, a small unit, and I'm going to use them to build things like depots and forts. Not that we can afford many forts, because they're very expensive now. So that being said, if you're new here, please leave a subscribe and comment on the video after you've watched it and let me know what you thought of it. Come and check out other videos on my channel. I've got lots of playlists on the go here. We've completed a couple of Grand Tactician playthroughs already, and if you're into this kind of thing, then you're bound to like that. But anyway, so without further waffle, we're going to get started here. And one of the first things I'm going to do is actually I'm going to build a hospital, because we haven't got any hospitals as far as I'm aware. Yeah, there's no hospitals available. Map here. Alright, I think that's fixed it. So I had a panic on for a second there. I couldn't zoom in, couldn't move out, couldn't do anything. But I didn't see any hospital. Let's just try this again, make sure that it wasn't just glitching on me. No, there's no hospitals. So let's build a hospital, or two maybe. Let's see how much they cost first, before I say anything about 2 hospitals. A hospital, 1.5 million. So it's not too bad, but I feel that they are quite important. So let's build one. We're going to build one down here at... We're kind of between Petersburg and Richmond, so that's going to cover the eastern area. And then I'd like to build one over here somewhere, maybe in Mississippi, and that could hopefully take in wounded guys from the Trans-Mississippi area and from Tennessee, if need be. So let's have a look. I was thinking maybe around Granada, or even down here, Jackson maybe. Although I don't actually know how close to the front they have to be. Let's just have a look if it says anything about that. Military hospitals are large complexes that provide medical care to soldiers wounded in combat. Hospitals reduce mortality of wounded soldiers, which in turn reduces loss of support due to casualties. Right. But it doesn't say how far it covers. Like, where is it possible to transport the guys from the front back down to here, for example? I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, we'll build it at Corinth. Yeah, okay. So that's a couple of hospitals getting constructed. Alright, anyway. So I've moved Zolokoffer down in this Florida Corps, but anyway, I'm gonna press start here. I'm gonna let time go. We are working on letters of marque. It's on auto manage. I didn't want that. We don't want letters of marque. Damn it. What I actually want is diplomacy 1. Okay, so time's going to tick by. As a quick note here, so I had a look at these supply depots. So, for example, to upgrade this depot, it's going to cost $5.2 million. $5.2 million. Bear in mind, we just built a full hospital for 1.5. I mean, that seems a bit excessive to me. We can't build anything with these guys yet anyway, but I was just kind of pointing that out because that doesn't seem quite right to me. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that? 5.2 million to upgrade a hospital. A depot, but only 1.5 million to construct a whole hospital? That seems crazy to me. Now, we know forts are expensive. $18 million. But I'm going to build a fort here with the Hampton Division near Richmond because we need a fort basically around here to help protect our capital. So the Union's got military 1. Let's have a quick look at this Eastern HQ and see how long these troops are going to be. So Longstreet's going to be 11 days, 8 days, 25 days, and 36 days. So quite some time. Our 2 Virginia armies are really tiny, actually, so I will actually have to bite the bullet here and recruit some more troops into the Eastern HQ because I don't think we're going to be able to manage with the small numbers that I had queued up there. So I'm going to go ahead and recruit a couple of units, but maybe we'll not go with this French blue colour. Steel grey, cool, yeah. Green trousers, yeah, he looks awesome. Right, let's recruit those guys. So we're going to recruit a unit of 2,250 guys from Alabama. Under Loring, yeah, that's fine. Loring's fine. I'm also going to call in. Let's have a look here. Let's bring in 2,250 men from Georgia. Looks quite fetching, doesn't it? Yeah, he'll do. Bitchin'. Walton, let's have a quick look at him. He's not good. I'm going to give that to Daniel Hill. That's a bit more like it, so we can dole these guys out when they arrive. But they're going to be sometime 25 and 29 days. So Cooper's arrived with the Eastern HQ, right where we want them. I've queued up a couple more ships as well. Let's just have a quick look at the ships. Oh, we've got another steamer available as well. So we're building a couple of these little tiny paddle steamers. Let's go ahead and pop this ship into the New Orleans Squadron. This is going to be our main fleet on the Mississippi. So we've got a few brigs building. We've got a double ender, which are quite powerful ships. Large, with only 8 guns, but I mean, they're pretty good. And then these 2 little ones. Alright, so the Missouri State Guard is here, but they're out of supply completely. So we're going to pull them back into friendly territory. He's still on retreat, okay. Right. So I think what we're actually going to have to do is move up the Western Army and construct a depot here to bring some supplies up for any potential invasion into Missouri. Prices at destination. Can we move him now? So as soon as this Diplomacy 1's done, we're going to work on Militia Act 2. Our finances seem to have recovered slightly. We're funded the military quite high. Industry still says low, but we're putting 1 million into that, so I mean that should work itself out, I think. The Union forming a few new armies we can see there. The Army of Pennsylvania, 2,200 men, so not huge. Department of Ohio now, 14,000 men. That's going to be once their recruits get in there. We've got to watch what's happening here. We've got to be a bit careful. Because I'm not happy how this map's really jerking around, so I'm just going to quickly reload this. I'm going to save and reload, so I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so this is it loaded up again. The map's moving properly now. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe did I select something else maybe? Or I don't know, but it wasn't working right anyway. Now it is. It feels better. Okay, so we're just back where we started there before. So our new foundry's almost ready here. This is also cool. Didn't take too long to make, actually. Let's have a quick look at our army of the Northwest. Now, these guys are not really going to go anywhere from here, if I'm honest. Not just yet, anyway. So I'm going to recruit some guys directly into this unit. And it needs doing, really, because they've only got 700 men, so they will need someone. Let's see what we have available from West Virginia. 2,400 men. Maxie Gregg, yeah, he's alright. Let's go ahead and give them some artillery from West Virginia as well. Not under Hardy, though. Pelham looks really good, actually. Not for there, but bear him in mind for a different post in the future. Shoop, yeah, he'll do. Alright, so that takes that up to more, like a little bit more respectable size. There's a depot here as well. Still got nobody ready in the in our main force here. Weapons. We've got 6,000 Springfield rifle muskets. We've got 3,000 Mississippi rifles. So yeah, they're pretty good. And 30,000 Springfield muskets, which are better than mixed muskets, but they're not good. But the majority of our guys are going to be equipped with those. So we can't order any of this stuff. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I mean, it says because they're not being produced now, but this weapon is not being produced or imported. Well, what if I want to what if I wanted to do that? What if I wanted to produce it? Why aren't my foundries able to do that? I'm not sure. Is it just because they're obsolete? Maybe we need one of these projects. That's probably it, actually. I'm sure that will be it, actually. So we'll get to that, obviously, once... Finance Confederate Weapon Production. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it was an auto-managed project. I'm going to take it off for a moment and just see if I can do anything with that once we unlock a few more policies. I wonder if we can blockade his little port there. Doesn't say it's blockaded. Oh, yeah, it is. Blockaded. Awesome. See how you like that, Yank? McCulloch at destination. Okay, so he's arrived in northern Arkansas. Oh, there's also an army of Kentucky, 4,500 men. I wonder if they're building that depot as well there. So we are blockaded all over the place actually already. That's just not blockaded. Alright, so it must have this little fire bit around it because it's saying this infrastructure was recently occupied. The transport capacity is still recovering. Is that because we occupied it? Because it's seceded? I'm not entirely sure. But all of these are showing that. It could be that. I mean, I really don't know. Let's go ahead and construct a news agency at Nashville. I think I would also like to construct a fort at Nashville. Again, I know they're expensive, but I feel like Nashville would be a decent place to have a fort. And we're going to get the Army of Tennessee to build that. The Missouri State Guard pulling back. McCulloch's here, and we're going to build a depot with him. 1.9 million, so they're not cheap. Issued bonds, yeah. Alright, so the project is now shown with like an exclamation mark. Let's see what it is we can actually do. Railroad construction. Construction of new railroads requires a lot of resources and labour. Finance, the railroad engineers, and increased immigration of cheap manpower for labour, especially from China and Ireland. Each level of this project further increases the speed of construction of new railway lines. Spend 300,000 subsidies, politics, of available 318,000 to unlock level 1 of this project. Suppress population. The funding of 300k is needed. Yeah, let's go ahead with the railroads. I think, yeah, railroads. Let's do that. So I guess that indicates we're tier 1 of that. Why don't we have a quick look at the railroads, actually? So railroad construction's been in this game for a while. Let's see. So we could make this railroad. Little Rock and Dallas. So that would kind of connect Texas with Arkansas, and then obviously facilitate transport via rail into Tennessee if need be. But that's going to be expensive, I would think. Let's have a look. 4.2 additional subsidies of 4.2 million need to be spent to authorize private companies to start. So 4.2 million, I guess that's the cost of that. Houston and Shreveport. Let's have a look at that. 6.2 million. Ooh. Let's go ahead and let's have a go. We're going to start on Little Rock and Dallas. Spend some money. A lot of money. The more railroads are constructed simultaneously, the slower the construction process will be for all railroads. Yeah, fine. Okay, so we're going to have a go at that, and we're going to see how that goes. Fine, cool, excellent. And I also noticed that some of our troops were ready. Withers from the Eastern HQ. So let's get him transferred. We'll get his weapons upgraded first. Springfield muskets. We're going to put him in the Army of the Potomac. Once we get more of these guys in there, we're going to rearrange the Army of the Potomac into more organised divisions. So I've just recruited some more artillery. I'm going to put this Pelham guy in charge because he's an artillery officer and he's got really good stats. Gets him a bump up to captain from lieutenant as well. Okay, let's keep going. Construction completed. The Augusta foundries. Cool, so we've got another foundry on the go. I don't know how much difference that's going to make actually, but you know. Who's arrived here? Holmes. Alright, so Holmes has arrived in North. Slow this down a little. I'm going to have a quick look at the workforce. We've got plenty of workforce available around Charlotte. Why don't we construct a factory? 4.5 million, jeez. We can work on reboard muskets, and I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Longstreet's also ready. I'm going to equip Longstreet's guys with Springfield rifles. Alright, so a bunch of our guys from the Central HQ are ready. I'm going to transfer them out. British declare neutrality, yeah. Still pulling out of Missouri with our Missouri State Guard. Some of Pillow's men are ready as well. So I'm actually going to combine this Missouri State Guard and the Western Army into one force. I'll do that off camera. Okay, so I've changed this Western Army around. I've moved all the guys across. I've combined a couple of these tiny brigades from Missouri, and I've put Price in charge of that. We're gonna work this out into 2 divisions. McCulloch's going to be in charge of one of them. Buckner, Simon Buckner. Let's have a look. He's not amazing, but there's McCulloch. They're all right actually. They'll do. They'll do. So then our guys from the Western District, we can move them as well. So we're going to transfer those guys into the Western Army. We're going to give it another McCulloch. No, I think that'll become confusing. I'm going to put Hardy in charge. Right, so Price's force is looking pretty decent here, actually. But we are struggling with supply in this region. It's still only May, so that's why there's been no battles or anything like that. So, but don't worry, there will definitely be battles sometime really soon. So Diplomacy 1 is here. More trade deals proposed. Cool. Let's go right ahead and look at the policies. And like I say, we're going to go for Military Act 2. So we're pumping some funding into diplomacy. It's quite high. Foreign interventions at 30%, so, you know, it's not amazing. So I'm going to order 3,000 reboard muskets. Now, they look a bit crap, but they're not bad, actually. So I'm going to order them. That's enough to fill out a whole brigade's worth. So the little indicator there says there's an order coming. But we don't have access to any decent weapons yet, really. So the US Navy is arming civilian ships. He's twice our number for men fielded almost, so 66,000 for him, 35,000 for us. But remember, we'll be kicking up the recruiting once this Military Act 2 goes through. It's 23 days. I might recruit a few more units on 12-month contracts, but not this moment. I'm going to go ahead and put together a new fleet, a small fleet up the Mississippi. So putting them together at Memphis under Buchanan. No, not Buchanan, because this is not a real fleet, so I'm going to put them under someone else, someone not as good as him. But someone decent. Hollins looks alright. I'm going to pop him in there. This is like a little scouting force. So it's called the Mississippi Scout 1. They'll be put together any moment, just 3 little ships. And that's fine. I'm just going to send them up the river to have a look, see what's going on. Savannah's not blockaded, and neither is Charleston. Completed some things. Let's have a quick look. Must be the hospitals, I guess. Yeah, so Corinth Hospital and the Petersburg Hospital. So we've got some capacity now. Let's see what kind of capacity those hospitals actually get us. If we can find... Oh, there it is. It doesn't really say. Influence on local speed of recovery. Local reduction. Like, how far does it stretch? I really don't know. Is that going to be on the filters? Let's have a look. Medical treatment. Alright, so it only covers the direct area. I kind of assumed that they would be moving wounded back there. That's okay. I'm sure we're bound to end up doing some fighting around there anyway. Okay, well, you live and learn. So we've actually got no supplies at Richmond either. That's crazy. So let's get Magruder to build a depot while he's here. It's expensive, but we do need one. He's building this fort anyway. Still going to be another 80 days. So I'm going to give this brigade to Lee. I mean, I know obviously we want Lee higher up than that, but I'll give him a brigade command to start, otherwise I'll over-promote him too quickly. Alright, so Beauregard's looking a little better here with 10,400 men, but he's only got 7 guns, so that is something that we will have to improve. Just reorganise this slightly, but we're still working on building up the army. So this is basically an episode to organise things. It's about organising the troops. It takes a long time to get ready for a war. The National News Agency has been completed. Cool. Our credit rating is still looking okay. It's at A-. We do need this depot to hurry up and get finished though, and then we're going to press up into the west, into Missouri. Well, potentially. Going to construct a market down here. The Union isn't blockading us very well here anyway. Well, oh, actually, now they are. Oh no, it's not blockaded. The infrastructure was recently occupied. Well, anyway, is this little scouting squadron ready? Let's have a look. Yes, it is. Let's send him up the river a little. I'm going to pop up here towards St. Louis, see if there's anything to be seen. This depot's nearly finished, thankfully. We're suffering some attrition, condition alert. I'm going to upgrade the depot at Nashville. I feel this is going to be an important region. I'm going to leave these guns here for now, otherwise he'll disappear off the map. We don't want that. I'm going to recruit 1,500 men from Maryland. That's going to take Longstreet to 13,288 men. That's not bad. This is how I like to organise my divisions. I like to have usually 3 brigades of infantry and 1 battery of artillery. Obviously, you can do it however you like, but that's how I like to do it. I'm going to give these guys a 12-pounder field gun. They are not good, but they are better than a 6-pounder field gun. Trade deals. Let's have a look what trade deals have to say. Finance the nation's diplomats to negotiate more lucrative trade deals with foreign nations. The trade deals will allow better prices when importing and exporting goods, giving a boost to the nation's economy. Alright, yeah, that sounds like a good one. Let's do that. Can't really do anything militarily. Can we actually import any new weapons? Let's just have a quick look. Doesn't look like it. Be nice if we could construct, if we could make Mississippi rifles, but we can't. Alright, so 3 days until Militia Act 2 is done. We're into June. Union calls for volunteers, so they've got their 12-month contracts now. The Fayetteville depot is constructed, so that's about time for that. So we're going to give it a little bit of time to let some supply trickle in there. Yeah, that's our 2-year contract's done. Cool. Projects, we can do something new. Suppress population again. I don't really want to do that, so let's leave that. So we're going to go for Diplomacy 2. And when this is done, we're either going to have to work on funding, depending on what our credit rating does, or we'll go for Military 2. So we've got 104,000 recruits available now. So I'm going to do a bit of recruiting. I'll do that off camera, because I don't think any of you guys want to see all that. Alright then, so I've queued up a few units. They'll be getting themselves ready. So I've recruited some men into the Florida Corps, some more men into the Hampton Division. I have sent men to the HQ units we have, all 3 of them, about 10,000 into each, except for the Western District, only 8,000. I've created the Eastern Pioneers under Bragg, so those guys are going to be building us some forts and depots. And the Tennessee Pioneers under Blanchard. So they are also going to be hopping around and building things for us. once they get their men in there. Oops, so we've got movement. Department of the Ohio. 14,000 men. Right. So it looks like we're going to be facing our first combat here, and it looks like it's going to be tight for numbers. Okay, so I'm going to shift Beauregard. Hopefully he can get in there. Well, it's actually pulled out. I'm going to see if we can't pick a fight with the Department of the Ohio here. Let's see. Yep, we can. Excellent. So I'm going to leave this episode right here. We're going to fight this battle in the next episode. It's going to kick off straight with a battle. But we've got to also be careful here because the Army of Northeastern Virginia is pulling down here into Alexandria. So we'll have to finish McClellan, hopefully nice and quick, kick his butt, and then hightail it back over to Eastern Virginia. Because otherwise we're going to be left pretty open. And they've got 16,000 men there. Our troops down at Richmond are not numerous at all. Yep, there's hardly anybody there. So we will have to kick McClellan's butt. Failure is not really an option here. And we'll take it from there. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, do leave a like. I know it's just been a lot of organising, so it's not been the most exciting, I guess. But hopefully it's been interesting. I do hope it has been. And if it has, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what I should be doing different. What would you have done different? The placement of those hospitals was... I didn't really know how they worked, so we should have placed them closer to the front lines. That's a regret I've got. But this battle should be a good one. Joe Johnston and Beauregard against McClellan. Equal numbers. Well, not quite equal, but close numbers. We've got the numbers slightly on him, but he has got more guns, a bit more cavalry. Let's see how this battle goes. Hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you later.